Hi everyone, welcome. Sorry it's a bit late for me to be doing this demo. I did promise it was going to be today. I don't know where today's gone. I was at clients this morning and yeah, I don't know where this afternoon's gone completely. Now we're already evening. Haven't even cooked dinner yet. Anyway, I said I'd do this bookkeeping template demo for you just to give you an insight of what I've actually been doing. I've been adding to it and amending it, putting changes in, and really sort of defining it to the best of its ability. I did this spreadsheet back in April of this year because I needed to fill a gap between the normal spreadsheet clients, and then you've got loads of them open for different kinds of things, right up into the client that's ready to go into the cloud. So it just fills this niche. I needed it to be really cost effective as well, for business owners as well as bookkeepers as well, because when we all start out in business, it's, we don't really have a lot of money to spend, and we want to spend it wisely as we're setting up business. We can't afford to employ either bookkeepers or people to help us, in our business at a very early stage. So this was where I decided to sort of fill that gap and help some of the pain points, I think, towards some of these people that were coming to me saying, I don't get Xero, I don't get QuickBooks, or it could be that, the clients that you take on don't necessarily need to be cloud-based. So this demo is going both in my bookkeeper group as well as my clients for business owners and entrepreneurs. So this is why it's a bit of a broad thing of where I'm trying to fill this niche. And to be honest, the amount of people that I've got in both groups have the similar sort of pain points and just want something very simplistic, very easy, and all in one. Just to give you an outset, this spreadsheet is macros based as well, so there's a lot of programming behind it. So if you do use a Windows PC or a MacBook Pro or a Mac, you will have to enable the macros. Now there might be some sort of I don't know, because macros has always come up with viruses, etc., but I think that's pretty much in the past now. I have obviously swiped it through my virus checking system. It's stored securely in the Amazon storage, where it's it's hyper protected. So it's entirely up to you. I thought I'd just give you the overview today, so at least you know. I'm doing it at a special offer price today, up until 25th. So the 25th of December, that's 2 weeks away. So usually in those 2 weeks, the first 10 people that buy this will be at 50 quid. Anything above that, it will be back to the normal price, I'm afraid. So the normal price is £150. We're already 2/3 of the way through this financial year, which is why I've given 2/3 off of the retail price. So normally it's 150. I'm doing it for 50 quid. So try and see if you can get in there quick, guys. As I say, the first 10 will get it at 50 quid. Anything after that, it will go up to £150. So without further ado, I will go over it and share my screen, and hopefully this demo is not going to be too long, although there is quite a lot to get through. Once you do purchase this, you will automatically get video tutorials for each individual tab, so you're not left in the dark. You can go through those tutorials, and they are under an hour to learn. So I'm just going to do a quick overview. I'm going to show you something, try and go into a little bit of detail, but not too much, because obviously the tutorials actually give you those. But I just wanted to give you an insight of what the capabilities are with this spreadsheet, so then at least you know what you're buying. Right, so I'm going to go over to my screen. Bear with me, because I've been having some problems with sharing my screen. Okay, so managed to do it. So first of all, you come to the main support page. So if you've got any questions, guys, either put it in the Facebook group, or you can email me at support@gofigureyourbooks.co.uk. Just a few notes to bear in mind: that this template is a non-VAT bookkeeping template. Anybody that's up to the VAT threshold of 85,000, which is for the 2019-2020 VAT threshold for this year, So if you think you're going to go over that, or your clients are going to go over this within that, then I strongly recommend that you get cloud accounting like like Xero, Free Agent, or QuickBooks. And this is for UK only. When I say UK, that's Northern Ireland, Wales, and Great Britain. If you are from Scotland, your tax brackets are slightly different to ours. So if you are in Scotland and really want this as well, let me know, because I'm putting together a new tax calculator, because in the mini income and expenditure account, there is a tax calculator built into this, and that is based on the GB tax brackets. So I'm going to go over to the dashboard just to give you a clear view of what that is. So this is your dashboard. So for everything that's in pink, which is across this part here, is your income, and anything in blue is basically your expenditure. At the moment it's blank because we've got no data in there. And this refresh all button is the magic button, as I call it. But I'll come back to this particular dashboard in a moment once we've gone through some of these tabs, once we've got some data in there. So I'm going to go over to bank statement, which is the next tab. So this is the bank statement entry form. So as you can see, you've got income, you've got expenditure, and you've got drawings, and you've got recurring, let's go over here. Yeah, recurring forecasted transactions. Let's just minimize that a bit more. So let's go back, because I want to show you. I'm going to start filling in some of this detail. Now, the open balance, I put in here the closing balance as of the 31st of March. Now, most of you know that the tax year runs to the 5th of April. Why in God's name did HMRC come up with that date? I have no idea. But when you're doing your self-assessment, there is a tick box within the self-assessment that says, have you done it to the 5th of April? You can tick no, and you can specify the date you did it to, the 31st of March. They are quite happy with you doing that. I've done many self-assessments that state it's only to the 31st of March because you ran it from the 1st of April that same year. So, or the previous financial year. So don't worry too much. If you want to run it from the 6th of April, that's perfectly fine. But for my own benefit, what I do to make things easy, because I want one whole month in there, I put my opening balance, which is the 31st of March's closing balance, in here. And then I'm going to put in some information, and I'm going to basically go through this. So I'm going to put this on pause, I'm going to fill in the details, and I'll come back to you. Okay guys, I have now filled in some details for you, which is April and May's. As you can see, I've put in my bank balance as of the 31st of March. Right, so I'm going to go over to some of these categories. Obviously, you've got some triangles up here, and I'm going to show you what these are. These are basically filters. So, for instance, I've done all my invoicing, and I wanted to find this particular invoice, and depending on like the amount that you've got. I mean, I've got loads and loads of space to write the whole year's worth of accounts. But if you wanted to find a particular invoice that may or may not have been paid, you can click into these and it brings up everything, so you can search for them. So I'm going to put in invoice 004 and it brings it up. So it'll tell me that it was paid on the 25th of April. Then you have this little funnel. If you click on it again, it tells you that it's ticked. If you just tick this select all, selects them all, and it brings everything back to normal again. It's the same over here in expenditure. You use these for filters. So sticking with the income category, so I've got two revenue streams, bookkeeping and consultancy. So I'm now going to just tick my bookkeeping invoicing. If you then hover over all of these, I can say in 2 months I've actually got £2,450 for my bookkeeping. It's just another quick way of tallying up how much you've done. If you wanted to then do it even more and drill it down, you can deselect and select just April, and it will tell me that I earned 1,225. This is just a quick way of learning how to use these filters if you do not know Excel very well, especially with the filter side of it. You might do, you might not. If you do, I'm teaching you to suck eggs, which I don't mean to do. and then you just make sure that all of those filters are now back to normal, so you can start entering more information. Now the same is on the expenditure side, so I've just filled in some supplier details, obviously the amounts as well, same as the before. You can obviously search by amounts as well, and then you've got your expenditure reference. Now I don't know about anybody else, but I code my own invoicing to a purchase number, which is P001, which is my internal number. So when I actually file it, either in my Dropbox, I reference it with this reference number, so it's easy for me to come back to, or if it's paper form, then I've got a file with that put in the right hand corner of the piece of paper, and then afterwards it's got the invoice number of the supplier. So again, this one's pretty easy as well. This one's quite good. So if I wanted to search for purchase, say for, I've got two there which I've duplicated, April and May, but you can see that there is the reference. Now if I wanted to search for the reference 1365145, it has the same thing. So P, what did I say it was? Oh, SI, and just that one, it will still bring it up. So there are different ways you can actually search for different things in these fields. And again, the expenditure category, your IT software. Now these you just fill in yourself. I mean, even if you did I don't know, travel, you can put it in. If you put in travel again, it will come up automatically, and you just press return. So it's quite good to actually drill down on some of your the expenditure revenue, expenditure nominal codes, which would be. So okay, so that's basically my income, my expenditure, and then over here, which isn't in the tutorials, I must admit, this is something that I've added in since then. But basically, if on the 30th of April I gave myself £1,000 dividend or a drawing, but on the 5th of May I actually put £250 back. Now this is reverse, so when you take money out it's a plus, but when you put money in it's a minus. I know it's quite confusing, but you'll understand when you come to do the dashboard why this is the way it is. So my opening balance was 985, and at the end of May my bank balance should say 3279. Now if my bank balance is different to what was on my bank statement, it means that I've got something missing. So if you find that you've got something missing in your income for April, instead of trying to insert the line, because you won't be able to do this because these are all coded, just enter it here. So I'm going to put in here say the 15th of April, and I received something from just as a miscellaneous sale for the moment, because I can't think of a name off the top of my head, and I'm just going to put in here £150, and then my balance now agrees, so that's gone up. So if I take that back out, delete, it was 3279, put in 150, it's now 3429, which is what my bank balance would have said. And then I just fill in these details, which I will do now. 9, no, it's just some consultancy I did. So that's the first part of the bank statement entry. Now over here I've now got sales invoice control sheet, which you can put all of these in. Oh, I've just seen a mistake. You can then start looking at your sales invoices and keeping a track, especially if you're doing credit control, chasing people for payment, etc. So I'm going to go over to the sales invoice control, but we will come back to this after we've been to the dashboard, because you'll see these come through. So I'm going to go over to the invoice control sheet now. So I'm not going to go too much into detail in this because it's pretty straightforward and it tells you a lot in the tutorials anyway, but they've got the same sort of filters as we had on the bank statement. So you've got these little triangles so they can filter, but it's self-explanatory. It's pretty much a sales invoice control sheet. It records obviously what was paid, the date it was paid, part paid, and the date it was part paid, or if it still remains unpaid, and if there's any disputes on it from the client or from your customer. there are notes, and there's a flag as well, which is quite user friendly. As I say, this goes into a bit more detail in the tutorial, but yeah, so I'm not going to go too much into this because it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to go over to other income tab now. So the other income, you could have, instead of going through on your bank statement, it could be like PayPal. So if you receive money through PayPal, there is going to be PayPal is a bit of a difficult one in some respects, because obviously the money that comes in, you need to record it, but it's the money transferred between the PayPal and your bank statements can be recorded on your bank statement as well. So you could just put on your bank statement that it's PayPal, because you're recording the detailed stuff in this page. So you can rename this income, you can actually rename this as PayPal, and then there's another income stream if you take it from something else. So it's quite user friendly in that respect. Again, I've gone into more detail with this on the tutorials. It's pretty much the same with the same filters, etc. So yeah, I'm not going to go too much into this. I'm just going to put this back to, actually, can I do that? Other income. Yeah, so that's the income. So now I'm going to go over to the other expenses. It's very similar to the income, other income sheet, but it's obviously the other side, which is your expenses. So again, the other expenditure, this could be like your cash expenses. Again, you can change this as well to say cash expenses. So this is anything that you've paid for personally, not come out of the bank account. So you can record all your details here. Again, same filters, expenditure categories. So again, there is a tutorial on this, so you can actually go through it. I'm going to go over to the mileage tracker. So as everyone probably may or may not know, anything below 10,000 is at 45p a mile, and anything above 10,000 miles is at 25p a mile, I believe. Can't really remember. Let's just have a look. Yeah, 25p a mile. So you don't need to write in any of these, because when you go to try and go in there, it says that this is protected, so you can't damage any of it. So all you need to do is you just put in your information here, the date, the mileage claim, like a number, where you went from and where you went to, the miles you travelled, and if you did return, if it was a return journey, so if it's not just a one way, if it was return, you put a yes in there, and if it wasn't, you just put a no or an N. A Y or an N. Again, I do go into more detail with the mileage tracker on the tutorials, so it gives you a bit more of an overview. So yeah, that's just a big sheet that tells you can keep a track of all your mileage. So now I'm going to go over to home usage. Okay, so your home usage, you may or may not know, if you work from home, you, like me, I work from home, I can claim a percentage of my council tax, my rent or the mortgage, whichever you've got, telephone, internet, electricity and gas. What you can't claim is water or sewerage. Unless you're a hairdresser, you might be able to get away if you're working from home. Obviously, you're using a lot of water, washing hair, washing towels, things like that, so you might be able to get away with a small percentage, but to keep it simple, this is the way I've done it. If you are a car valeting business, then the water board will probably say that you need to go on business rates, so it's totally different. So you might be able to include the business rates, which will come through on your bank statement in any case. So I'm going to quickly show you what this means. So as I've said up here, there are 168 hours in a week. Work out how many hours a week you work in your home and enter it here. Now you go onto HMRC website, they do explain, you know, how many rooms do you use, how many rooms in the house, and this, that and the other. That to me is very, very complex. I mean, there might be a day that I work in the office, it might be a day that I'm sitting on the sofa with my laptop, it might be that I'm sitting up in bed with the laptop if I'm feeling really under the weather. So I work in 3 different rooms in theory, but that's why I've come out with how many hours do you work in a week in your home. So this is where I put a percentage. Say for instance, if I do work 40 hours in my my week, it automatically puts down a percentage claim. I can claim 24% of my council tax, my rent, my telephone. So I'm going to start putting some information in here just as an overview, and you'll be able to see telephones, 120 say, which include my internet. So telephone and internet might be one, so if that's included in it, just leave this one blank. Electricity and gas could be one, because I've got one as well. So I'm going to put it into a bulk, which is, say, about 80 quid. So I spend £1,350 a month personally, but I'm using my home for my office. So 24% of that, I can claim £321 of that per month. Now, I could be wrong here. HMRC might see this as you're claiming too much. But again, it's a very grey area. They don't actually tell you, yes, you're allowed, no, you're not. It's not a yes or no. It's a lot of grey area in HMRC. But I've been doing this for a lot of my clients over the years, and it's such an easier and simplified way, because you are working 40 hours out of the 168, because you're sleeping, so you're still paying the £1,000 mark of your own personal stuff, but £320 is obviously your business costs. I've got a lock and reset, so I want to lock this in. So you lock it. Oh, it does work, don't get me wrong. So I'm going to, it locks. So basically when it does lock, when you change this to 60, I know now it's changed it to 36%, but I'm going to have a look at that bug actually, why it hasn't worked. But when you change it to 60 hours in the week, the percentage goes up to 36%. So you can use the reset button if you wanted to rechange that particular month. But have a look at the tutorial. It tells you in there exactly how it works. Now I've found that debug, I'm going to have a quick look at that, because that could be something to do with the coding. Debug on home usage. I should do that tonight, because that should work. I did it the other day and it worked fine. And again, it's come up again, debug. Right, I'll have to have a look at that error. See about the different types of flipping coding I've had to put into this. I'm going to come out of this. Right, then I'm going to go over to the mini income and expenditure, which brings us to the end, but I'm going to show you the dashboard very soon. So I'm going to go to the mini income and expenditure. As you can see, the home usage has already been populated, because that's what we worked in here, 482.14. It's already come through here from what I can claim. Your banked income comes from the bank statement, and your other income comes from the other income tab. Same as the bank expenditure, and you have to enter these in yourself. That would be just too complicated for me to try and work out, and you can, as I say, you use the filters to find out what your April, May, and the tutorials do explain this in quite much detail. Then we come down to this tax calculator. So if this is your only income, so you're not got an employed business, you don't work for somebody else and you get PAYE, then you use this tax calculator. So this is your only income. If you are employed or self-employed, then this is where you'd put in your employed annual salary here, and then it works out your tax. So I'm going to go back to my banked income. I'm going to fill these details in, and then you'll see these figures move. So I'm going to pause this and I'll come back to you soon. So guys, I've just filled in my banked income from the bank statement. Obviously we've left these completely blank in those tabs, other income and other expenditure, and I haven't recorded any mileage. So this gives me my little mini income and expenditure account. So in the month of April, I made a profit of 1,693, and in May I made 2,022. So for our only income, it's worked out that we need to put away £130.44 for our tax. We need to put 87 away for our class 4, £13 for our class 2. So at the end of this month of 1,693, I need to put in my transfer into my savings account 230 quid. If you were employed and say you were earning, I don't know, let's just say 8,000 as a part-time person, and 8,000 here. It works out basically the additional amounts that you've actually earned, and this is the amount that you put away now. Because you've earned, you may or may not know, I'm going to say this for some of you may already know this, but I'm going to say it for those who don't. You have a personal allowance every year. This tax year you can earn up to 12,500 before you get taxed on it, and you can earn up to 8,632 before you get charged national insurance. So in theory, you've already used your personal allowance in your employed job. So whatever additional profit you make, you get taxed on. So you do end up paying a little bit more because you've used part of your personal allowance in your employed status. So that's why you need to put a little bit more away. So hopefully, guys, that's sort of gone through all of these tabs. I'm now going to show you the grand finale. So I've now gone into the dashboard, and as you can see, there are now graphs and everything else. Now, before I pressed the record button, I pressed refresh all, which is the magic button. And it does take a while for it to process because it's reading all the data from all the individual tabs. But as you can see, we've got April and May, which was only recorded in the bank statement, and we've got bookkeeping and consultancy. The same with the expenditure. You've got all the different types of expenditure here. So I'm now going to tell you how you can utilize this in the best way. So down here it tells me individually my consultancy fees for April and May, my bookkeeping for April and May. It gives me a bit of a combined, what's my best one. So 51% of my income is bookkeeping and 49% is my consultancy. If I just wanted to know what my bookkeeping was, I click into bookkeeping and it only brings up my bookkeeping. If I just wanted to take that off and go to consultancy, it just brings up my consultancy. So these are really user friendly. The same as this, for instance, we've got April and May's, and now we've only got home usage at the moment, so I'm now wanting to do all of these. So you just hold down the mouse button, drag across them, and then it gives you basically where your expenditure is. My home usage, I'm claiming a lot more than anything else really. IT software 23%, and it gives you your breakdown of each individual code of how much was spent in that particular month on each individual one. So I hope it's sort of giving you a bit of an insight, and also you can print these as well. So if I was to go, I wanted to print this particular combined income for that month. So when you go up to the print combined income, it will print this chart. If you print the combined income on percentage, it will print this chart, etc., etc. So there's some good things up there if you needed to send them as a PDF or something to your clients, or you wanted to print them out and put them on your wall, depending on who you are. But yeah, I have discovered a few bugs while I've been going through this demo, I must admit. I'm going to rectify those later this evening. I don't think I'll be going to bed till 1 o'clock by the looks of it. So anyone that wants, as I say, the first 10 people that want this, please let me know. Email me, message me, direct message me, whatever. Put it on Facebook, put your name in it. First 10 will get it at £50. But again, as I say, I've just discovered a couple of bugs, and that's something to do with the coding, but that's easily rectified. But I will let you know as soon as it's live and running. For those who do want it, as I say, let me know. But in the meantime, I hope this has been quite good, and you've enjoyed watching. And any problems, let me know through support@gofiguryourbooks.co.uk. Right, guys, I'm going to go. Hopefully that was a little bit of a good demo for you. I'm going to switch over to my screen. There we go. It's been a lengthy one, I do apologise, but I wanted to make sure that you got the full aspect of what each individual tab does. It might sound like it's a lot time consuming. It's in one place though, and you're not having to go from one Excel spreadsheet to another, and it's all in one place. But yeah, let me know how you get on, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. So until then, bye bye.